Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Grandstand Gurus, the #1 sports podcast on the Explosion Network. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jack Kruse. I'm joined this week by Ashley Hobley. How are you, mate?
Hey, I'm going pretty good, Jack. How are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode, ladies and gentlemen. We aren't going to go through the normal format and have different topics and that, as it is just me and Ashley. We thought we'd try something different. So what we're going to do is have a fireside chats type, or a sideline grandstand side chats, as it would be, type episode, and just sort of see where it goes. We're just going to talk sport. We might go into other things non-sport related. We might stick to sport, but we're going to break this up over a couple of weeks, and hopefully you will enjoy it. However, we will... Hopefully, yes. However, we will start like we normally do. Ash, what was your highlight from the weekend sport?
Being a bit biased, it would be the Broncos win over the West Tigers, where I think we beat them 36-0, which is pretty good to get a shutout, even though the West Tigers are a bit of a basket case at the moment with all their off-field problems. But yeah, also, I'd have to say the Collingwood comeback against Hawthorn. Sorry, Kieran, but that was pretty impressive.
Oh, that was great, wasn't it? I watched that game. I had my cousin over, who's a Collingwood supporter, and I don't subscribe to the sort of the general hatred of Collingwood that the majority of the football community has. I actually not like them, because I do hate every team, but I don't mind Collingwood. I think they're okay. You know, they're a proud club and all that. And people, I think, tall poppy syndrome, I think, is a big part of why people hate Collingwood.
They just kind of rub people the wrong way, especially like Eddie Maguire and things.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, for sure. I like Eddie, though, so I guess that's probably part of it as well. But I thought that was a great game. Great game of football. Looked over at quarter time, and then they just fought back. It was fantastic. So yeah. I really enjoyed that. I had a couple of highlights from the weekend. I had, this was going to be one, but something dropped today. So, Richmond losing another close game that they had every right and should have won when they're leading all game. Literally GWS, and I hate GWS. Yeah. They're my second most hated team, but it's always hard to go past a painful Richmond loss like that,
especially after they had that goal review.
Yeah, there was a couple of sort of contentious things. Like the goal review was, I wouldn't say it was conclusive, like 100%. I thought it was pretty close, but I thought it was touched. But if I was a Richmond supporter, if that would happen to it in a Doggies game, you'd argue that wasn't. It wasn't conclusive. And then the contentious non-50 metre penalty that wasn't paid to Dustin Martin when he was having sort of shot from 50 when Jeremy Cameron ran over the mark. But the AFL came out and backed that decision, said it was correct. So I guess, that's that. But it's always fun to sort of... It's more so the Richmond supporters, how they react after a loss like that.
Heartbreaking.
Oh, I know. And it's funny, a friend of mine on Facebook, it's always funny watching him watching Facebook when the Richmond Tigers are playing, and he's commenting things like, he's always complaining about the umpires, and then there's always some excuse, and he's his status at the end of the game was I can't do it anymore, which was quite funny. And my cousin was texting his mate, who's a Richmond supporter, and he texted him the exact same thing. He's like, I can't do this anymore. So it's quite funny. I shouldn't laugh because I should.
No, because Geelong got a very good win on the weekend, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they did. Well, yeah. Anyway, they did. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was painful. Yeah, it was painful. I got angry.
How are you feeling about that game now that you're sober?
I'm still frustrated about it, because we should have, like all of the games we've lost this year, we should have won. We didn't take chances. We made stupid mistakes. I mean, the umpiring was despicable, as it generally is at places like Geelong and Perth and Adelaide.
That Bob Murphy call was pretty atrocious.
Oh, mate, that was the worst. But the frustrating thing about that was, and I'd been saying it all night, was that every time Selwood and Dangerfield got tackled, right, they'd drop the ball. Just straight drop it. Umpire called play on, right? And then our player gets tackled and kicks the ball away on the full, and they pay holding the ball. I'm like, you're kidding, aren't you? Compounded by the fact that I had to listen to Cameron Ling bang on the whole bloody match. It's ridiculous that he's allowed to commentate Geelong games. I mean, turn it up. Just absolute dribble coming out of his gob, and then Richo, and it's just. There's just
Need to watch the Fox.
I love the Fox. The Foxes are great generally, unless I have to listen to Dermy yakking. He just doesn't shut up. Anyway, that's it. But yeah, so very frustrating loss. The umpiring probably didn't decide the match, but it certainly didn't help. And you'd give away stupid free kicks. Some things go your way, some things don't. You don't take your chances in front of goal. We have all year. You have the momentum. You don't make the most of it. You're always going to lose those games. So, especially in a place like Geelong against a quality team like Geelong, who happens every time. I said it earlier in the year when Collingwood were getting rode all week in the media. I said, you watch out. It was Hawthorn. I said, you watch, they'll come out and win this week. And they did. Collingwood did the same thing. It always happens. And we always end up playing teams right after they've had a week of getting smashed in the media. So it'd be nice to play a team. Yeah, it'd be nice to play a team coming off a 100-point win. That'd be nice. But, of course, now we've got to play St Kilda, who are disappointing, so they're going to want to make up for that this week. So, anyway, that's just the way it goes, mate. It's but that was the most upset I've been after a footy game this year. Probably because I'd had a few drinks, made it worse, but...
Yeah. Check out your journal.
It's mate. Yeah, I know. Yeah, check out my journal, Kruse, mate, on YouTube. It was it was hard, and it's been easier to cop this year. The losses, having just come off a flag, they haven't hurt as much, but that one was quite painful. Yep. But other than the Richmond loss, the other sort of highlight, which is just some news that dropped today, Robert Whittaker will fight for the UFC interim middleweight title against Yoel Romero, UFC 213 in July, I believe it is. Just awesome. Stoked. Cannot believe it. It's like we spoke, we had him. Yeah, Dana White loves him. Which is so he bloody... Oh, yeah. God bless you, Ashley. I think so, yeah. I mean, he must. Why wouldn't he be? I don't know. But how good is that, mate?
Last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just how good. Like Aussie's going to fight for the UFC interim title. Amazing. It's one of those things, like things seem to just be falling in place for it. First it's Romero, GSP pulling, or not pulling out, but being told that he won't be fighting Bisping. So that fight getting scrapped and being given to Romero. And now Bisping's having surgery, so it's getting that fight's off. So now they'll fight for the interim title, which hopefully if Rob Whittaker can be successful over Romero, he can come in and then have the title shot, proper unifying of the titles against Michael Bisping, which would be absolutely huge. So we spoke about it last week, the dream fight, Aussie versus Brit for the title. What an amazing sort of just event that would be. You'd think it would have to be in Australia, but yeah. So hopefully he can get over the line. Romero's quite a scary fighter. He's only ever lost once. There's a lot of controversy around him though with his doping allegations and stuff like that. He's sort of widely considered in the mixed martial arts community as a drug cheat. So we'll make it even sweeter when the Reaper gets over him, hopefully. So bring it on. Bring on UFC 230. Oh, he's as good a chance as anyone in that division to beat Romero. Romero's a really good fighter and he's a unit, but he's older. He's 40 years old. Whittaker's still young. Whittaker's quick. He's probably the quickest guy in that division. And he's smart. He's a very smart fighter. So I haven't seen a lot of Romero, but he's a beast of a fighter. But Whittaker's very smart. So I think he'll win. I think he should win. And I hope he does. So I'll be buying that UFC pay-per-view and I'll be watching that. So that'll be massive for our for our boy and for our country. So yeah, very exciting news. So anyway, let's get into the we can. This is just what it is now, mate. We're just gonna have a bit of fun with this, guys. So I wanted to ask you, what was your very first sporting memory? What's the first thing that you first match you remember going to, first game you remember playing in the backyard? What was your introduction to sport?
I did like training for tennis when I was 4 or 5, which is probably the first thing I can remember. I just
Did not know that about you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were living in Sydney at the time, and I would just go for tennis lessons every weekend. That was pretty much my first introduction to sport that I can remember. What about you, Jack?
My first memory was being at the Whitten Oval for Doug Hawk, and I would have been young, very young, probably 2 or maybe, I might not even been 2 yet. It was Doug Hawkins. I think it was either his 300th game or it was his last game at the Whitten Oval. I remember being there with my dad and my pop, and my other uncle that we didn't sort of speak to was there, and like my dad saw him and we went up to him, but he wouldn't come up and talk to pop. And it was a whole thing. But that was my earliest sort of sport memory. Weird sort of thing. What how long did the tennis thing last? How long did you go on with that?
I think I did training for like a couple of years, but never really went anywhere.
Yeah. Do you still follow? Do you follow the tennis at all?
Oh, I'll keep up to track when the opens are on, but it's not like a dedicated thing. My mum's really into the tennis. She'll watch the Australian Open from when it starts in the morning till when it's finished at night. So that's normally on the end of the TV. So
have you got a big sporting like?
My tiniest brother is currently doing training for tennis as well.
How old's he?
He is 11.
11. Got to start him early, mate. Too old. Too old. What did you? So you didn't go on with it? Was there a reason why? Have you got like is your family really sporting? Like what?
Yeah. Oh, like, really.
Were you always encouraged to play sports and stuff like that?
I wouldn't say encouraged, but we just did because we were all boys, so it's all a bit competitive. And my second brother Nathan, he's the sporting prodigy. He's pretty much anything he'd play, he was really good at. So I was always a bit jealous of that.
Your older brother, did you say?
My younger brother.
Oh, your younger brother.
4 brothers.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
This is good. We're going to find out a lot more about you tonight, Ash. We don't know enough about you. You're
I'm a mystery.
Yeah, that's it, mate. You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma. So
much.
your younger brother was the more gifted one?
Yep, he was the gifted one. I was the one with no talent.
So
a little bit of talent.
Yeah, a little bit of talent. What sports did you play growing up?
Soccer, and then played cricket for a couple of seasons.
Yep.
And a bit of tennis. And then that was pretty much it competitively. Like we'd play rugby league in the background, in the backyard.
In the backyard,
but, yeah. That was the only thing we've really played for like a side every week. We did do bowling for 2 years. And we did win our competition the first year.
Nice. That's awesome. It's good to I like hearing like weird things like that. We used to go and watch my mate Matt. He played netball in like a mixed competition, and we used to go and watch. Like we would just because we were stupid and we didn't have anything to do on a Monday night. So we would go and like watch him play at like the local stadium or whatever, and just yell abuse and and heckle and like cheerlead. And it became like the first time we went, it was like a joke sort of thing. We're like, oh, he's playing netball, like, whatever. We went there and like just started like heckling and stuff, and it turned into a thing. We went there every week and cheerleaded and followed it, and it was sort of this funny thing. So I like little different sort of things like that in sport. People with
netball's
sports
pretty
and stuff.
hardcore now. So
yeah, it's massive. It's like it's becoming more and more like people are more and more able to do it as a mixed thing. Like, and men are getting involved, and it's not like it's all for as long as I could remember. Netball's always a women's sport.
It's a women's thing.
That's the way it was perceived, but it's becoming more and more that equality and people, guys and girls playing together and being a non-contact sport, and there is some contact in it, but being generally a non-contact sport, it's a little bit.
I've seen of some of the pro stuff; they get pretty hard contact.
Yeah, that's full on. Like netball's a crazy sport though. Like the stress that it puts on your body, those rigid, jarring motions
on your knees. I'd imagine with all the stopping.
knees and back. Yeah, every netballer I know, or everyone I know that played netball or has played netball or plays netball, has got buggered knees and a buggered back. So it's one of those ones. It's like, why would you want to be a wicket keeper in cricket? You're gonna have you're gonna have buggered fingers and buggered knees. So it's an interesting one. So what was your favorite? What was your favorite sport to play?
Probably soccer, because I think I was probably half decent at that, and that was the one most of my friends were playing as well.
Yeah. How long did you play that for?
I played for a team for about 2 seasons, and then it was all just through school, just competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jack?
Nice.
Would you play when you were younger?
I played footy mainly, cricket, and golf were probably the three that I never played tennis or anything like that. I was never really, although I was the captain of our year 12 soccer team, which was a weird thing. It was a weird sort of time around I think I can't remember what World Cup it was, but I think it must have been 2006. All of a sudden, all my friends soccer was it was a weird sort of thing. Soccer was like a foreign concept to all of us. You know, soccer's a soft sport, and they just fall over and they fake injuries and blah 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 blah. That was sort of how we viewed soccer. Or football, if that's what you want to call it, but it's called soccer in Australia.
You can call it football.
Deal with it. Yeah, it's soccer.
Until the national teams are football rules, you can call it soccer.
Yeah, damn right. And so soccer was it was a foreign concept to us. And then the 2006 World Cup came along, and obviously the whole thing, we nearly made it through, and all that, and the loss against Italy, and sort of became a little bit more prevalent. And then we had an English guy sort of come to our school, and him and his family moved over here from Britain, and then he came to our school, and of course he's all about it, all about soccer. Shout out to Steve Halpin. He's like a jiu-jitsu master now or something, but he sort of brought the soccer with him, and sort of a heap of people who we'd all grown up playing footy together transitioned to soccer, and no one wanted to play AFL anymore. I was like, what the hell is this crap? I want to play footy, and you guys are playing soccer, and it became this whole thing. And so by proxy, I sort of, because everyone's playing soccer at lunchtime, I'm like, oh, I might as well play soccer. But I was I never respected the game back then. I resented it for coming in and taking all my friends away from playing AFL. And so I used to just break the rules bad, tripping people and tackles and shirt fronts and stuff when we're playing, and they used to get so frustrated. No, you can't do that. I'm like, I just did it. Kicking them and stuff, and it became this whole thing, and it sort of became like this fun sort of funny thing, and I ended up being the captain of our team, and we did like the what do you call it, muck up day? Did you ever do muck up day for high school? Did you guys have that in Queensland? Do you know what it is?
Probably some more morally bad schools probably did.
Yeah. So, but you know what muck up day is?
Yeah, just
the day after you finish. Yeah. The day after you finish high school, you go and play games and run around and throw eggs and stuff at each other. Like our year, that was what it was. It was like a full-on thing. You wouldn't get away with it these days. But our year, they turned it down, and they were playing like games and whatever crap. Like, we have sumo suits, no egg throwing, and you can dress up and come. And it's like, I didn't even end up going to the school for all the games and stuff, because I drank 15 Red Bears the night before when I finally finished high school. But we'd organised to play our last game of soccer on the day after like all the games and all that, to sort of, as a sort of goodbye, like we'll have the split teams, because we had everyone was always on the same team when we played at lunchtime, and I was the captain and come down and played, and it was it was good. Like, I was never really good at all. So it was a bit of fun though. It was just sort of a funny thing that I was the captain, because it was like the joke, because I was the least interested in soccer, the least skilled in soccer, the least like cared about soccer, and so it sort of became the thing that I was the captain and led our team out, and it was this funny sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
that did remind me. Another sport that I played during high school was rugby, like rugby union.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, we had a small. I went to a pretty small school, so when I was in year 11, one of the PE teacher decided we're going to try and get a union team together.
Yeah.
So yeah, spent half the year training, trying to get technique and everything down. We played 2 games, and then all the big guys graduated that year. So the next year there was barely anybody left to play.
Oh no! Did you get creamed then?
No, we didn't compete the next year.
Oh no way!
No,
That's lame.
yeah, there just wasn't enough people. So
Yeah.
But-
we never had rugby at my school. Being Victorian, we never, it was never something that anyone was, it wasn't like soccer where people got into it eventually. It was just something that no one was into. I remember there was one game of rugby played for like school sport and one kid broke his collarbone and that was it. he got like lifted and slammed and snapped his collarbone and they're like, all right, no more rugby. That's it.
fair enough.
But yeah, footy was the one for me. I've said before on this podcast, I played over 100 games of junior footy and...
So were you like a midfielder or forward or?
No, I played centre half bench. Which I was not very good at football. I was not very good at
When you got subbed in, where would you play?
I was a forward pocket, back pocket. So I played probably half my career as a back flank, back pocket, and the other half as a forward pocket. The ironic thing about that is that with football, it was just that thing. I never kicked a goal until like my last season of football. So from under 11s through to like under 17s or something like that, I'd never kicked a goal. And it was this thing where it was always this big thing, and it was like Jack's never kicked a goal, and Dad used to always talk about when you kick your first goal and all that. And I had a shot, like I had many chances, and I just never was able to like get it. Like I would fluff the kick, or I'd stuff it up, or I'd pass it off, or there was a few times where like I was in the goal square on my own and a player would kick it to me and I just I tried to do the team thing and let it go through, and I always thought about it, like I should have taken that kick. Like why didn't I take that kick or pass it off or whatever? So I never kicked a goal until my last season. And my first goal I took a mark. It was a 1-on-1 in the forward 50 and we were sort of running back with a flight and I just sort of got behind my opponent and took probably one of the better marks I ever took in my career. Not for, a couple of meters out from goal, and I was like, this is the moment, I'm finally gonna do it. And probably one of the best feelings I ever had.
I thought that story was going to go the other way.
No, I kicked the goal, obviously went back and slotted it, soaked up as much time as I could in the moment, took the mark, got up, went back on my mark, spun the ball around, long run up, kicked the ball through, and Dad was there watching on the sidelines and was like tooting the horn, going crazy. And it was a great moment because it was this massive thing that, all the boys used to give me shit about. Oh, you've never kicked a goal. You've never done this. You've never done that. It was this sort of running joke. And it was an awesome moment to finally get it. And knowing that this was going to be this was the last season before high school finished. And this was it, and I was going off, and I wasn't going to play, go up into the seniors or anything, and so, knowing that this was my last season, and I might not actually ever kick a goal, what's that going to be like if I played my whole career and never kick a goal, and to get it in that first one, it was like, the monkey was off the back, the weight was lifted, the goal was through, all the boys got around me and were, congratulating me and patting me on the back, finally got it. So it was a good moment for me. Yeah. And I kicked 2 other goals that season, which was excellent. So it wasn't sort of the one and only. I had 3 to my name by the end of the year. But it was always the thing was I never had... I never was on the team sheet for goals kicked. I was never, you go on Sporting Pulse and look up, the stats and the junior scores for each game, and my name was never there for goal kickers and that. So it was something that always sort of ate at me. Yeah. And I don't know when to blame. I was just not very good. Never was, good enough to get in position to kick goals, which was frustrating because I loved the game so much and I had great skills. My kicking and you know, my handballing and marking and that were actually really good. I was just slow, overweight, pudgy little kid. Couldn't get to, like, you know, couldn't chase, couldn't run. Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, that's why they're athletes and that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was footy was the one for me though that I loved. That I, you know, and I want to, like, every year I'm like, oh God, I'd love to go back and play now. Knowing now about footy, what I know now, if I knew back then about the game and how to play the game, I would have been so much better, because I never knew what I was doing. Like, that was the whole thing. I never knew what I was doing. Like, I would like go and chase the ball, try and get it. I would always just sort of wait for it to come to me, kind of thing. I think that's why I never got anywhere near it. So, what about you? Have you got any depressing stories like that?
No, just all depressing.
All
I didn't
depressing.
hit my first. I think I averaged about 2 or 3 in my first season of cricket.
Yeah, me too.
So, but second year I got a couple of 20s, which was pretty impressive. I was pretty happy with myself.
Yeah, pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I only played 3 seasons of cricket. I sort of got to cricket late, and my first run was actually a bye. The first time I batted, I completely missed the ball, and the keeper missed the ball, and we got through for a single, and the umpire didn't call it. So that was pretty depressing way to get your first run, is it, where you don't even get to bat on ball. But yeah, that was and that was the thing. I came in late, so I was never very good at cricket either.
No, yeah.
Can you tell that? Can you see the pattern emerging here?
Yeah. This is why we're talking about sport, not playing it.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. Spot on. So yeah, I think my first season, my average was not anywhere near it. I had scores of like 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, and then I got a 7 in the last game of the year. Hit a 4 off the very last ball. I come in at number 10, I think, and had gotten 3, and I was on, like, 3 was my top score that I'd had all year. So I was like, all I want is to beat my top score. I don't care. I just want to get my top score. And I swung the guy that bowled the last ball, like, wide down leg, and I just swung the bat as hard as I could at it and made contact and just ran. I'm like, I'm just gonna run, and I got like halfway down the pitch, and I didn't even look to where the ball had gone, if it had gone to the fielder, if it had gone 1 meter. And I got halfway down the pitch, and my batting partner was like, it's 4, you hit 4. And I stopped and turned and like ran up, like hugged him in the middle of the pitch, and all the boys down, you know, on the boundary line are going mental. And I was walking off and raised my bat, and it was it was a good moment. It was a good moment in my fledgling cricket career.
Yeah. I did get on a hat trick once.
Oh yeah,
and I'm a terrible bowler. I got a problem with my elbow. I just can't keep it straight. So that was always the problem.
Yeah,
but so I got on a hat trick. Opening fast bowler came over and said, "Mate, I'm on a 4-for. If I get a 5-for, I'm going to get ice cream. So you better better not get that last wicket."
Oh no,
I bowled a bit wider.
Yeah. Oh, you're kidding.
No, I had no chance of getting another wicket. So
yeah, you never know, mate. It's generally when you think it's not going to happen the most is when
true.
you pull it off. Do you get to the rugby much, the footy or anything like that? Like up in Queensland, do you go to the sport much?
Yeah, there was a period where we were going pretty much a fair few games. I'm a bit closer to the centre of town than I was a couple of years ago, so it's a bit easier to get there. But my brother Nathan, who is the younger one with all the sporting talent, he lives down the Gold Coast now, so it's a bit harder to get there because he was the one I'd always go to the sport with.
Okay, yeah. What did you go? Like, where would you go? What games?
Suncorp Stadium. So that's the rugby league and the soccer. And last year we went to the AFL as well, so that was pretty good.
Cool.
We hadn't gone to an actual live game together before last year.
Oh, really? And you hadn't been to an AFL game?
No.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So we went to one of the preseason games down the Gold Coast, and then went to the Gabba where we got flogged by Geelong.
Oh dear me. Did you have any, like, do you ever, like, I have a lot of tradition, like, not traditions, but weird sort of, you can just call them traditions, things that I do when I go to the games and when I go to a game of footy and stuff like that. Do you have anything weird that you do, like, little, things that you and your brother would do when you would go to games, make sure you do this, sit in a certain seat or anything like that?
No, not really. It's all set seating, so like designated seating for the games at Suncorp. So nothing like you where you have to get there a couple of hours early. Yeah, we get obviously take the train in and go walk up to the stadium, which is always a good sight to see, I think.
Yeah.
What about you? Because you're like in the mecca of sport.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's good being, like, that's the one I always say, if it wasn't for the footy, I would not live in Melbourne anymore because the weather is terrible. But I have, like, a very set routine when it comes to going to the footy. Do the same thing every week. It's very much like I drive, it go from everything from driving in to, like, where I park to how I go in to where I go and sit. So it's pretty much I don't think I've told this story on this podcast or any of the podcasts really, but anyway, now's a better time than ever. So when I drive in, I never catch the train into the footy because I just can't be bothered with the crowds and trying to, fight people across the footbridge. Because being a Bulldog supporter, we play at Etihad, and to get out of Etihad Stadium, you've got to walk back up over the bridge, back in toward, like, out of Docklands, back in towards Spencer Street, I believe it is.
I have no idea.
The Southern Cross Station. So because the train station is just up over the bridge, so you walk out of Etihad Stadium and you go back out over, and the train station is sort of up over the bridge. And then when you go to a packed game, it's not too bad when we were down the bottom of the ladder getting out because there would be no one there, and it's easy to sort of get in and out. But nowadays we get
when all the bandwagons are on. Yeah,
exactly right, and we'll get to that a bit later. It's harder to get, so now we get crowds, it's harder to get out, and I can't be bothered fighting the crowds. Everyone walks really slow and sort of moving at that sort of zombie pace, so people just sort of trudging along and get to the train station, wait for the train, make sure you get on the right platform, get on the train, then you got to try, hopefully you get a seat, and if you don't, it's just too much. I can't be bothered with it. So I drive in, I pay the $30 every week to park under Etihad. I should really organise a parking pass because then I'll save myself like $5.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah, and I just can't be bothered. I'm not very, I'm a little bit lazy with that kind of thing. So I drive in, I park in the bottom of the car park so that I can just get in and out. And what I do is what I used to do was I used to go and park, like, right next to the elevator. Because I thought that would be the quick way to get out, right? Park right near the the staircase and where the elevator is. Park right there, and then walk back, like, you walk straight up the stairs, go upstairs and get your seat or whatever, and then when you leave, you can walk down and get straight back in your car. So, but nowadays, the smarter thing to do is walk an extra 5 minutes, or not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes, like an extra couple of 100 meters, and park right at the boom gates. So, like, I drive in, do like a U-turn and reverse back in, so I'm like in the park facing like the exit, so I can get in the car, start the car up and drive straight out. Don't have to worry about like wait, because that's the thing, it's like the car park, trying to get out of the car park
as well.
Sorry?
People would let you out when you're that close, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing, I don't even have to wait for anyone. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's go straight. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't really have to wait. Like, it might be one or two cars that are sort of there before me, and I'm straight. Like, I just go straight in and go out, which is a smart thing to do. So I get the same park every week, or one sort of around that area if someone's already sitting in that park. But the thing I do, then I go up into the stadium. I sit in the same seat, in the same row every week, and it's funny. I've told this story on the podcast before, but I have like my surrogate Bulldogs family, like the same people that sit around me, like the young couple, the old couple, the two guys, and I'm pretty sure they're brothers or uncles or whatever, and the son that's there, the young guy, and it's good to like see them every week, and it's sort of like a weird, like, we're all sort of like in it together, and we're there together every week, and so sit there with them, watch the whole game. I've never left a game early, which is something I'm very proud of, because like you see, it's at the footy games when your team's getting belted, they always show on the TV, the crowd leaving, the supporters are like filing out. I've never left a game early, which is something I got from my dad. I remember once we were at the footy and he was the same. He never left a game early. And we're at Melbourne. It was a Melbourne Bulldogs game at the MCG and we were getting belted. And I said, "Oh, can we go, Dad?" And he's like, "Nah, we do not, we never leave. You never ever leave a game early." And I never left a game early. So I watch the game right up until the final siren. And once the siren's gone, if we've won, I stay and I wait until every player has left the ground. So do the song, they walk around, high five the fans and all that, and they go back down the race, and I wait until every single player has left the field before I leave. But if we've lost, I can just leave as soon as the siren's gone. I don't have to wait for that. That's my reward. I can get out as soon as it's gone, and then I get out and just drive home. And the other little thing I do is if we've had a win, I'll treat myself to a packet of twisties on the way home. Stop at the servo.
Which flavour?
Get a pack of twisties. Just your normal, original cheese, tasty, whatever they are, cheese twisties. Okay. Yeah, that's my sort of treat to myself. And then I go home and watch the replay, record it on Foxtel, and go and watch it. So that's sort of my routine tradition for going to the footy. It's just a weird sort of, and it's sort of developed over time, but it's sort of become this thing that like I do it every single week when I go, and it's funny. It's just this weird thing. I don't know. I'm a strange unit, in case you guess. Very good. We might.
For someone who's not from an AFL state, do you go to like all the games in Melbourne, or do you just go to the Bulldogs home games?
No, I just go to Bulldogs home games. I don't go. I won't go to like I maybe a couple of times a year I'll go to other games. If I get tickets through work, or if I get invited to go into the box or something like that, or get some corporate tickets, or if a group of friends are going to a game, I'll go to a game. But generally it's just the Doggies games. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? Yeah. It's not. It's one of those things. Like, there's so many different sports and stuff in Melbourne, but I only really go and watch the ones that I really. I never even really go to the cricket. I say every year, I'll go to the test. Go to one of the tests. Go to one of the days of the tests, or Boxing Day is like my favorite day of the year. But I've never been to. I've been to a Boxing Day test, but I've never been to on Boxing Day. Yeah. I've never been to a like any other test match, or I've only been to a couple of one-dayers and stuff. I've never been to a 2020 match, but I love the cricket, but I'd much prefer to watch it at home than go to a game.
It's much easier to watch at home.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. What about you? Do you like heat up any other games that aren't the Broncos or the Raw playing?
Not really, because they're the only ones that get played in Brisbane.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good point. Are there any other? Is there another Queensland? There's other Queensland teams, isn't there, in the rugby? Excuse my ignorance. I don't follow the rugby at all, really.
So down the Gold Coast, they've got
the Titans,
obviously the Suns and the Titans, and then they've got the Cowboys up in North Queensland. But it's a bit of a distance to travel. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they don't ever play games.
We did go to the last ever Gold Coast United game against Brisbane Roar.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, I remember it fondly because they were 2-0 up and they managed to squander it.
God.
Our fans gave them hell.
As you would.
That held them for like 10, 15 minutes, yeah.
God, I'd forgotten about them. That was... Oh, wow.
Yeah, you thought they were going to be good, but...
Do you think that?
Yep. All the background stuff with Clive Palmer and everything sort of ruined it, I'd imagine.
Clive Palmer. There's an interesting character. Jesus.
Certainly is.
Fantastic. Well, we might cut it there, and we'll be back next week with the second half of the Sideline Chats with Jack and Ashley. This has been a product of the Explosion Network, Grandstand Gurus, as you know, every week. All of our content over at explosionnetwork.com. Platinum Explosion, #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. The original Pleasure Explosion podcast. We've got movie reviews, game reviews, viewing gods, the top 10 at least American Gods review show. We've got all that good stuff. Ashley, where can the people find you on Twitter?
They can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY, HOBLEY.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Kruse_mate. Thank you for joining us this week, guys. You know, this has been a little bit different, a bit more of a relaxed sort of look into how we feel about sports and all that. So we'll pick this up again. The second half of this will play next week on Thursday. Please enjoy. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, you know what to do. Keep on grandstanding.
It's time! Beautifully bowled! Sensational! It's over! He's given it! He's given it!